And welcome back to Coast. George Noory with you. Our friend Uri Geller with us, Israel's veteran illusionist, psychic, television personality, known for all kinds of things with his mind, including the bending spoons. Unbelievable. His own theory about the origins of the COVID-19 virus. He posted on Instagram several days ago what he called insider information about the coronavirus. He says it was manufactured by China's Ministry of State Security, which is responsible for counterintelligence, and that a person became infected accidentally while the virus was being delivered to Iran, which planned to use it for bacteria and warfare issues. He wrote this to a group of scientists in the U.S., adding that there is still controversy among American scientists whether this actual virus is derived from bats, snakes, or created in a lab. Lots to talk with Uri about. He's going to be doing an experiment with your clocks and watches in a moment. Uri, welcome back to the program.
Hey, George. Thank you very much. I'm speaking to you from Old Jaffa in Israel, and I'm sitting right by the window of our living room looking outside, and of course there's not a soul around. Usually Old Jaffa is bustling with tourists from all around the world. Israel gets around 5 million tourists per year. And looking out, it's so surreal. It looks like we're living in a kind of a bad science fiction movie, but it is very, very real. And I can see that most of your guests do talk about the virus.
Yes.
And it is, it's preoccupying us, our minds, our bodies, our souls. But I do want to tell you that I agree with the power of prayer that you conducted at the beginning of the show. Because you see, George, I am a great believer that we are all connected to each other with an invisible spiritual thread through which we can transmit the power of love, the power of healing, emotions, information, and so forth. So I'm a great believer in the power of prayer, and I really hope, because you have so many listeners, that you magnify that energy, and hopefully it will begin to destroy the virus. Like you, George, I get about 300 emails a day and 400 WhatsApps a day from all around the world, people asking me about the virus. In a moment, we'll speak about it, because I also get very bizarre questions. But no doubt that among your listeners who have heard about me, there are quite a few skeptics who probably do not believe in my powers. So I do want to read out to all of you, and I'm not boasting, I'm just presenting a fact. I was studied by the CIA for a long time, and I worked with the CIA and for the CIA for a few years. But just recently, the CIA released some very interesting documents that were top secret for decades. And here is a conclusion from the CIA about my powers. And I'm reading this out from the CIA's website. The official CIA website says, as a result of Geller's success in this experimental period, we consider that he has demonstrated his paranormal perceptual ability in a convincing and unambiguous manner. CIA. Now, if you don't believe me, then you'll have to simply get on the official CIA's website and find this, or check out my website, which is urigeller.com.
And Uri, one of our mutual friends, the late astronaut Edgar Mitchell, was such a believer in your abilities, and he was such a dear friend. And I think he was one of the best out there. And he was a true believer in what you do.
Yes, well, you see, we have to go back over 40 years. In 1969, I resigned the paratroopers. I was a paratrooper. I fought in the Six-Day War, in which I was wounded in Jerusalem. And very soon after that, I started demonstrating my abilities and my skills to the Israeli public. And it became a sensation. performed in big auditoriums all over Israel. Then Mossad got involved. Mossad is the Israeli CIA, the equivalent to the CIA, and Mossad were so fascinated by these powers that they recruited me, and I started working for them and bringing them very valuable information that otherwise they wouldn't be able to get. And they were very interested in finding out how I do these things. How does a spoon bend? How do I do telepathy? And they didn't have the tools to do that. They didn't have the electrodes to put on my head. This is a scientific method of discovering how telepathy actually works.
Uri, hold on for a second. We're going to hit this break and come right back. We had a long segment. Uri Geller with us. He'll be doing an experiment later in the program tonight. We'll be taking calls next hour as well. Back in a moment with Uri Geller on Coast to Coast AM.